This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
So I've had some feedback, and obviously I'm well aware now that, so my normal kind of Gumroad folder thing, Google Drive thing, I've been doing that for years now, and essentially I think if you're new to the Helix or new to whatever device you've got, at the moment this is just going to be related to Helix. I'm going to try and do some stuff at HX Stomp as well. If you're an HX Stomp user, leave a comment below. But I've done a couple of gigs now this year using just the Helix floor with in-ears. I do think it's a really good tool for this. And so I wanted to put together a few presets that are basically all-in-one type stuff that you could hopefully plug into like your cover band scenario, your function band scenario, or, you know, for home use as well. And this is the first of these. I've had some feedback saying, you know, where do I get started with these folders? I'm not sure which presets do what, and it's kind of become a bit unwieldy, I think, in some ways. The idea with the folder was that you could like kind of follow along with each video, but I'm well aware that there's now hundreds, I think over 1,000 now, Helix based videos. So knowing where to start, not easy at all. So I think the kind of goal for this is to have a separate kind of Gumroad folder where you can go. It's not, the idea is not just to be a total different money grab, although these are going to take me some other time. So hopefully, you know, by pricing it in this way, it'll grow over time. That's what she said. And essentially, I'm going to start off with this Cordy's 80s cover preset, which I put together for this video. And this is kind of using like a Friedman and a Jazz Clean to do some of these things that I think would be useful for me in a cover band. I'm going to try and gig it. These presets are ideally going to work in like a band context. They might be a little bit darker for home use. The idea is that hopefully they will then translate a bit better over your system. But we got 4 snapshots here. And then also the way that I run my Helix is that I have snapshots along the bottom. So I've got rhythm, lead, clean and dotted. And then along the top, we've got some stomps. And then if you press the button, you've got additional stomps on the back end of it. So I'll just show you the tones quickly. The idea is that we've got our basic clean. So we've got kind of a compressed. And a bit of reverb. These are going to be mono presets as well, so that you don't have kind of weird phasing issues as you plug in. We've got an air apparent we could kick on there. Or you could kick on the Hedgehog D9. But that's not generally how I'd be using it. We've also got a phaser. So it should be fairly versatile. And on the other side, we've actually got an 80s switch. To do that really kind of thing. So that's kind of one side of the clean stuff. Then we've also got a dotted clean. So you could use the tap tempo with this. 3, 4. And that's basically just doing that kind of thing. Then we can go over to our rhythm and lead side. We've got a bit more of a chunky. And the idea is that we've got a bit more of a Marshall kind of chunky flavoured thing, which might be ideal for kind of 80s rock flavoured stuff. Then we can go from that to our all-out balls lead. Why am I saying balls? Balls to the wall lead. We've got an edged Hedgehog D9. Switchable there. So I might leave that off for a bit more. And kick it. Phases that we could kick on, or a chorus as well. So that for me might be exactly the kind of preset that could get me through that kind of 80s rock, pop rock kind of set. And that is literally the whole idea of what this kind of project is going to be, right? Building some of these presets that you can basically just use off the bat. So that's preset 1, Cordy's 80 cover, and yeah, I hope that'll be useful for a few of you and present a bit of a different way to, you know, work with my presets that isn't necessarily so complicated. It should be a little bit better planned out than the rest of the stuff. I'll also drop in Cordy cover. So this is the preset that I actually have been using on the in-ears gigs. It's slightly different. I'll drop that in as well. These are going to be the Helix floor at the moment only until I can figure out a way to kind of condense these things down to the HX Stomp or HX Stomp XL. If you've got any suggestions on that front, let me know. But HX Stomp XL, it should be possible, but in some of these cases, I'm going to be wanting ideally to be using 2 amps to go between sort of a clean and a Marshall rhythm. The Cordy cover will probably just about work on HX Stomp and HX Stomp XL because that one I'm using the litigator for all of it. So I will figure out an HX Stomp version of that. And let me know your thoughts about sort of other kind of stuff that you want maybe me to try and dial in this vein. So I'm thinking 80s, I've just done that. The sort of general function that I'm using, which is maybe a little bit not quite as 80s flavored, so a little bit more versatile, maybe not quite as much gain, maybe a bit more of a mid-heavy kind of tone. Other stuff, maybe something like a blues preset might be useful, I don't know. Maybe something like a fusion-y, bluesy type thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you've got other kind of questions around sort of, well, what would you use for this? Maybe like a more modern pop thing. Stuart, that might interest you actually. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I'll try and put this together over the coming kind of weeks and months, and hopefully this will be a way that you can get some of my presets if you're interested in them, but in a way where it's not so overwhelming because it's going to be pretty straightforward. You'll be able to see what's involved. And yeah, I also will be using snapshot discard mode so that when you kick on each of your effects and then jump back to your normal snapshot, it forgets what you had on the snapshot so that each time you're coming back to these snapshots as you're expecting. So if you had, for instance, a phaser on your clean, and then you switched away to your rhythm and your lead, when you come back to your clean, it's kind of your blank slate clean. That's how I use it personally. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you've got any, or suggestions for other stuff. So I think this probably covers the 80s stuff fairly well. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe something bluesy or more soul focused might be useful for some folks next. Let me know. Cheers.